My second question was going to be, I guess it's kind of twofold. One, the first part is, what was something great at Beyond? I guess base camp wise,
Yeah.
and what is something that can be improved upon, something that
Yeah.
can be done better. I think feedback is
Yeah, absolutely.
can always help us out as far as
Yeah.
Beyond goes.
What I loved about base camp was the intentionality with time. I loved that we had built-in quiet times, built-in study mornings, built-in Bible studies and worship sessions. Like I liked that structure.
Hmm.
And I just liked, but I also liked how it was open to like however you interpret quiet time or however you want to like it is structured, but then it also is like whatever would work best for you.
Mm.
And so I love that time. I love quiet time. I love just getting to like sit in nature and pray and ask God things and
Hello, everyone. This is El Monte Adventure Podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Isaiah Hernandez. I'm a wilderness guide, and while that is my occupation, what I really am is an adventurer. Over the past 4 years, I have traveled all around the world, developing skills such as wilderness medicine, navigation, and risk management in order to take care of myself and those that I take out into the wilderness with me. Along the way, I've had the privilege of making a variety of friends. Lifelong friendships is a key component to adventure itself. I hope this podcast is a way for them to share their story of the adventure we had together. Sweet. Awesome.
hey,
Um, Thank you for joining me.
of course, this is so fun.
Yeah, this hike was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, so this is Almonte podcast. Thank you everyone for joining. I have with me Julia Autry. Julia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello everyone. I am, like Isaiah said, I'm Julia. I had the privilege of meeting Isaiah last summer as we prepared to guide together at Beyond Malibu for the last 2 summers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a thrilling time, and it's hard to explain all the things that we've been through in the last 2 years.
Which was a lot.
It was a lot. um,
Yeah.
and yeah, now we are here at a park, kind of by my school, and
What's this place called?
this is called Devil's Lake.
Mm-hmm.
We are in Baraboo, Wisconsin, so right outside of Madison, which is where I go to school. And happy to have Isaiah here for about a week.
Mm. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
So do you want to, I don't know, give your rundown of what Beyond was like? I always ask the Beyond
Yeah.
guys what it was like for
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah. I I would say Beyond is um very much this tandem experience for me. It's been like the highest high of like oh my gosh, like I feel so purpose filled and so just like that God has me there for a reason, and like so exhilarating and so fun, and like you're just pushing yourself so hard, and I love doing that, and so it's very exhilarating in that way.
mhm.
But for me it has also been really hard, and it's been very like I've had definitely moments of being like so low and at like this kind of point of like, God, like what are you doing, like why am I doing this, like why did this have to happen, and just like I don't know, it's very much a like a tandem experience for me. But I like am really proud of myself um for persevering through a lot of hard things. But also like just it's honestly just such a privilege and a gift to be able to have been able to guide some really awesome kids
Mhm.
and take out these trips. Every trip is so special and so unique, and
Mhm.
it really becomes like a family.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of sad when you have to say goodbye to them after a week because,
Yeah, they're pretty intense relationships that you built
yeah, well,
over a week, for
it's
sure.
so intense because the nature of what you're doing is so intense. You're literally like it's not backpacking, it is mountaineering. Like you
Mhm.
are right away in the thick of the forest, like bushwhacking and climbing up these routes and like crossing streams. Like you're just doing this really like these really hard skills and having to trust like people.
Mhm.
And then you're also like sharing life stories with with campers and participants and their trip leaders, and sharing your life and what God has done in it and where you are and where you want to head. And so you really get to know people on such a deep and intimate level.
Mhm.
And I just think that that is like such a privilege and a gift to be able to just know people in that way, because I think like our culture just misses out on that deep um, and that intentionality that I think we all desire within us. But I think we're just filled with a lot of superficial, surface level type relationships.
Yeah.
And
It's not
so,
like how it used to be. I mean,
yeah,
back
yeah,
then there were more community driven
yeah,
places.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely very countercultural, and I think there's sometimes where I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I have no idea like why I am called to this. And
Yeah.
I think I like struggled with that for a little bit. But like felt like this year I was able to really like lean into like, yes, you are called for this
Mhm.
and you can do this. And it was a very empowering, some really empowering moments.
Do
But
you
yeah,
do you remember the trips that you took out? What were your
yeah,
what
yeah.
areas were they from?
Yeah, so last year I took out two trips, one from Michigan and one from Wisconsin.
Nice.
So nice and close to home. And then this past year I took out a group, two groups from, wait, no, one group from Washington, one group from Illinois, and then one group from North Carolina. So
Oh,
kind of all over.
yeah, that's pretty spaced out. You
So
have one
mid
from the far
I had
west.
three from the Midwest, which
Yeah.
is perfect. But I also had one from the far west and one from the far east.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was fun to kind of have that like really widespread
Mhm.
range of people. But yeah,
Hmm. And what would you say, like how did God work in you in this time? I know that you said that you had the highest highs and also the highest lows, and you were talking about that earlier too, kind of a place of just experiencing a lot and the intensity of it. Like
hmm
there,
hmm
you get to really the polar extremes of what you go through, and so how
yeah,
is
it definitely
God?
stretches you.
How's God working in that for you?
Yeah, I feel like that's very much something I like am still processing today. Of like,
Mm.
okay, God, like what was that for and why did I do this? And um I think part of it is not completely known. But I think a lot of it was just like growing in my trust of God and my trust of myself, and just getting to this place where I can like really be like honest and open about like where I'm at, and be really transparent with people in my life at all stages, not just at Beyond, but like at home and whatever I do, like be able to be like transparent and real. And I think yeah, it definitely has been like harder for me in my life, just because I think I tend to like not share certain things about my life because it's just easier to do that.
Hmm.
But I think the more that I get to share with others and the more that I get to build relationships, like the more beautiful it is. And um I think that yeah, God is really teaching me that like I can really go to him for everything, and like I can't completely rely on others because they like they will always fail me in some way.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um
we're not a person that you can just put everything in, and
yeah, you can't put your
yeah.
trust in like one entity or one person, um even one church or one like that's not what like a relationship with God is. It's not what spirituality is. It's like knowing intimately in your heart that like you have this deep relationship with God,
Hmm.
and no one else can take that away from you. And you can go and then like you have trust out of that because you're like, okay, I know God's character so well,
Hmm.
and I know who I am in him, and therefore like I trust him
Yeah.
and I can give him control of my life because I know that about him. But
And you're not saying that you can't trust anyone,
oh
like,
no,
yeah,
no.
but I know what you are saying, like the fullness of your trust
Yeah,
lies in
yeah. I
him.
think
Yeah.
like just the fullness of my trust, of my identity, like it has to be rooted in the Lord.
Yeah.
Um or else like I don't know. It just I just it has to be in the Lord, and I think that's definitely like what is motivating me in this next season of like trying to figure out what's next after college of like
Mm-hmm.
I really want to be like rooted in the Lord and like his purpose for my life. And so trying to have this like very open hand posture towards what God wants to do in me. So
And what does that open hand posture look like currently in your life? Like you're saying, for the next step of your
yeah,
life.
yeah. So I am like pursuing a few opportunities right now. I'm really like passionate about like wilderness medicine and ministry, wilderness like therapy. And so I am hoping to get a job as a wilderness EMT after
Mm-hmm.
college and hopefully move to Colorado or somewhere out west
Mm-hmm.
and just get more experience and maybe do some international work as well.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm just in the state of being really hungry for experience and really hungry for
Mm.
um, diversity and yeah, I think I'm very done with just like a structured like this is what you do every day, like going to school or like I don't know. I'm just hungry to get out into the world and to use the skills that I've learned especially in these last two seasons of Beyond. That is definitely one thing Beyond has taught me, just like so many life skills outside of just like going to school, because that
Mm.
was very much like solely what my identity was in.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know like who I was or like, okay, who am I without school or without a career or without this thing that like people so often strive for. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like it's just been so empowering in the sense of like being able to figure out who I am and like what skills I have and what I enjoy. And so
Mm.
I am definitely hoping to like be able to explore more of those gifts after college. And so yeah, I'm looking at opportunities right now. Nothing is really certain.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like I know in my heart that like I know something's gonna come up and I'm excited for that. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah.
and it's funny. It's cool that you talk about the WEMT,
Yeah.
because I had thought about that too, and I told you that a little bit.
Yeah.
I had thought about doing it, and I don't know if you've seen 14 Peaks.
I have not.
Wait, is it 14 Peaks? Is it 7 Peaks? 14 Peaks? It's the guy that goes across like the 7 or 14 like tallest mountains in the
Yeah.
world. It might be 7 Peaks. I might be saying that wrong. Sorry. But essentially, anyways, he gets on this essentially rescue mission
Yeah.
and clips himself on the end of a rope, a wire rope that goes to a helicopter, and he's taken up
Oh no.
and he's flown across the mountains and he's dropped off.
Whoops. Well,
He's dropped off in a location where someone needs to be rescued, but like the scene of him like going up there and just dangling from this rope is utterly amazing. It is so
that's
cool.
so
And
thrilling.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I was like a terrible circumstances for him to like be able to go do that, but considering the circumstances, right? But like still like to go and do that stuff and to be a part of that rescue mission, absolutely insane. I would love to do it for a little bit, but just for a little bit to have the experience. And um partly because I mean I I would, to a certain degree, I want to see and face death. I want to know what that looks like. Not that I want anyone to die, right? But there are also times where people don't make it back,
Mm.
and people don't.
It's a very real reality of
Yeah,
working in that
e-
field.
exactly. And I think that as a society, we disassociate ourselves from death. We're like,
Oh, we disassociate from so many things.
yeah, yeah, but I think death is one of those. primal,
Yeah.
foundational
Yeah, most
aspects to
definitely.
life that we just don't know what it's like
Mm-hmm.
to be around that, and to be around that in a constant state, which, is, it's done a lot of good for people. Like, not many people die as much anymore, which is amazing, and it's an awesome thing. At the same time, though, I feel like there were lessons that you learned because death was just around the corner, and you just didn't know when you were going to go, and it
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
volatile as far as like who died, your cousin or someone down the street or something like that. And it's like,
I think like on that note, like I think death is a very like motivating factor. Like when you see death and you face that, like it motivates people to make changes or to want to help or like
mm-hmm.
to prevent it.
Yeah,
But it also is like at the end of the day, like something we're all gonna have to face. And
yeah. Well,
um,
that's the interesting thing, is that I think we'll all have to face our own death for sure, but I think to a certain degree we manage that death, and we manage what it looks like, because everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people die on their deathbed, right? They die in a very slow process,
it's a
and
very like you get to say goodbye
hmm
and
it's very, there's a lot of con-
con-
cons
control or
not control. There's a closure. There's a lot of
yeah, yeah.
closure, and that that in the wild is not what that looks like, or at least in other places outside of first world societies. It's like,
Most of the deaths in the wilderness are like tragic,
yeah,
are accidents, are
yeah,
heartbreaking, and it's a very different kind of death.
and that's something that I want to confront.
Yeah.
And to a lot of people, it'll sound, why would you want to do that? Like, why
Hmm.
would you want to expose yourself to that? And for the sole reason of, like, I think it has something to teach me. I
Yeah.
think I think that it'll give me an appreciation to life, and like to hold life, to hold someone that's dying in your arms, and to know that, oh my gosh, there's nothing that I can do in this particular moment. And
Yeah.
so, not to take it, in this direction, but it is something that I was like, man, that interests me so much to do it, because that's something that I want to learn.
Yeah.
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 Um, but um, how long do you think that you'll probably want to do the WEMT for?
Right now I'm thinking at least 1 year. A couple years though. I
Mm-hmm.
think ideally. I think I eventually will go back to school
Yeah.
to get like some sort of like master's or doctorate or like something I can use for like my eventual career or my career that I want to have eventually. But I definitely like want to take a few years to just like discover who I am more and like
Mm-hmm.
really what God wants for me. And so I think like working as a WMT would be a really great like opportunity and like way to do that.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot more flexibility than being in school does. So
Do you have a place in mind that you would like to do? Like,
I'm hopefully in Colorado, like Colorado Springs,
beautiful place.
yeah,
Yeah.
or Denver or
Mm-hmm.
like any. I think yeah, for some reason I'm feeling like Colorado, but I also would love Pacific Northwest as well.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking at jobs in kind of those areas, and then also Montana a little bit. I have some cousins who live out there, so
Nice.
I love that area. So basically anywhere out west. I kind of want to go west of the Mississippi. I don't want to go east,
Why
really.
not?
I love the mountains. Not that like the
Mm,
Appalachians aren't amazing because they are, but I just like really feel called to living out west. So
mm.
hopefully that becomes a reality.
I mean, it has its
I
beauty,
think
right?
yeah. I mean it has its drawbacks and it's but I think that that's like I don't know. My heart just feels like pulled towards that and I'm like, oh, yes, that feels so right.
Mm,
So, yeah, hopefully in that area and then yeah, but I also am like really open for adventure and open for maybe something very different from that.
mm.
So, I'm like am pursuing things but also like have like like I was mentioning before like a very like open-handed posture of like
Yeah.
I can do something very different too. So
Hmm. Nice. Um, Going back a little bit on the beyond side, there were two questions I wanted to ask,
yeah.
and I guess one of them being, what was your favorite trip that you took out?
Oh, that's so hard.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. I will say they're all pretty great.
Yeah. I would
Um,
say um My this summer, just like from all my trips or
Mm-hmm.
like summer?
Uh, yeah, we can go between all the trips, the 2 years that you've
Okay,
that
okay.
you've done it.
I would say definitely my first trip on Frank with my girls from North Carolina.
Hmm.
Um, I guided with my good pal Sarah Bab. Love her. Shout out to Sarah. I think it's on Loveback,
Oh yeah.
so we'll have to manage that.
Oh yeah. Thankfully,
Um,
it's still recording. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know, that trip was so special. Like right away, I just felt so connected with the girls and like they were so vulnerable and so open.
Mm-hmm.
And we also like everything like went perfectly on our trip. Like
Yeah.
we made it to camp at great times. We were able to like swim and do like there's this lake called Crystal Ball Lake that we got to swim in,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fantastic. And we also got to sleep on the summit, on one of the summits, and then we did a sunrise summit.
Nice,
And
nice.
like literally everything that you hope for and like selfishly you plan as a guide because you're like, oh, that would be so fun, that would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time we plan things and they don't end up happening, and so
This is very true.
you never have that like yes moment, and that trip was like a yes moment of like, I made all the right decisions and everyone was happy and like
Mm-hmm.
we got so close and just laughed, and it was, yeah, just fantastic, and really felt connected with those girls. And like I'm
Mm.
still like, I contact them today, like we have a group chat and we're still in contact.
That's
So
sweet.
it's just like
Yeah.
it's so special, and I just feel like so just blessed that I was able to be a part of that trip. And it
Mm.
was definitely a high to like start the summer. I was like, oh yes, like this is
Nice.
amazing. So yeah, shout out to my girls from North Carolina. I love you guys.
Nice, nice. My second question was going to be, I guess it's kind of twofold. One, the first part is, what was something great at Beyond? I guess base camp wise,
Yeah,
and what is something that can be improved upon, something that
yeah,
can be done better. I think feedback is
yeah, absolutely.
can always help us out as far as
Yeah.
Beyond goes.
What I loved about base camp was the intentionality with time. I loved that we had built-in quiet times, built-in study mornings, built-in Bible studies and worship sessions. Like I liked that structure.
Hmm.
And I just liked, but I also liked how it was open to like however you interpret quiet time or however you want to like, it is structured, but then it also is like whatever would work best for you.
Hmm.
And so I love that time. I love quiet time. I love just getting to like sit in nature and pray and ask God things. And yeah, I love that about Beyond. And so many other things too, of just like the fun that we have. And
Hmm.
just you get so close with these people and they really feel like your family.
Yeah.
I mean, because they are like for a summer and multiple summers and even beyond,
Hmm.
um they really are just like people that you share these really special moments with. And so I feel like, yeah, just love the community, love the intentionality with time and the structure.
Hmm.
um in terms of what could be improved, I definitely think like supporting guides a little bit more could be improved, or
Hmm.
just like giving us more feedback like at the start of a summer and like kind of asking us about like what we kind of want for the summer. We like are like, this is like where we would like to grow or where we would like to, like
Hmm.
this is ideally like, oh, kind of what trips I would want to go on. Like I feel like I would be better suited for these trips, but also like
Yeah.
recognizing that like also like flexibility and openness of like I want to do
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that was definitely hard for me, of just to have like expectations of like being in out in the mountains a lot and getting a lot of experience, and not necessarily having that was hard because
Mm.
I kind of felt a little bit of like, okay, well, what is my purpose here? Like I feel purpose when I'm out on trail, but when I'm back like for multiple weeks, I just don't feel as much purpose and I get like
Mm.
anxious and I just want to get out. And so I think that was hard to like just have um, a different um, a difference between just like expectations and what actually occurred. And yeah, just like supporting guides and like checking in with them throughout the summer, not
Mm-hmm.
just like at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I definitely think
Well, I mean, they did do check-ins
yeah,
throughout,
yeah,
but I guess in the hustle and bustle of it, it's a lot. Beyond is a lot.
it is.
There's um, there's not a lot of time. So we have time for ourselves outside of like our work schedule and things
Yeah.
like that. But that time is, I guess, if you look at it from day to day, it's not a lot of time to do the things that you would like to do, and maybe some of the things that you kind of need to
Yeah.
do for yourself. So there's definitely a level of, well, everyone's kind of tied up doing a bunch of different things, even after our work day, because
Yeah.
after our work day we have uh, oh my gosh, worship, we have Bible studies that we do, we go to the dock and sing, we go and
It's very structured.
yeah, and because it's very structured like that,
Mhm.
there are pros and cons with that. And one of the cons, I think, and I think I would agree to I think I would agree to a certain degree, is that it, there's just a lot to be desired from, I guess, from really talking it out, because there's a lot of people there, and multiple people might need the same thing, and there's
Yeah.
only two GTLs, and
Yeah.
it's you kind of have to look for that
Uh,
in other people
yeah.
besides the GTL. But I do agree with you as far as like uh, the upper echelon of, you know, management and
Yeah.
GTLs, like it's a lot on their end, but also it's also a lot on our end, and so we're
Yeah. It's like,
trying to
I don't know,
balance that
like
out.
they're like our team leaders and like they're supporting us.
Hmm.
Not that they don't have a lot going on, but like definitely like I think that should be their priority.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I wonder if it would be I wonder if it would be worth it to have like a separate team besides the GTLs to be able to be on the emotional front of it.
Yeah, like I think yeah, I think honestly that could be really helpful, especially because like GTLs not only have to deal with like supporting guides out on trail, like they're hearing radio calls and making decisions and
Hmm.
like checking in with that and planning for next week and get like they're
Yeah,
doing a lot on that end, but like and so I think sometimes that emotional aspect like
yeah,
gets neglected a little bit.
yeah. It gets put to the
Yeah.
wayside,
Uh,
and for the higher
yeah,
purpose,
not
right?
that like yeah, not that like anyone did like bad at all, like all or like needs weren't met, but like
It was
I
just
think in
considering
terms
the
of
circumstances.
improvement, like I think definitely some more emotional support would be
Hmm.
helpful and I think just help guides succeed just that much further. So,
Yeah, I would agree, which is why I think that having a separate group, maybe it's a two-person group or a
yeah.
three-person group of, like, you have the GTLs, their primary focus is doing you know, focusing on the teams that are out there on the
Yeah.
routes and things like that,
Yeah.
and then you'll have another group that everyone shares responsibility, right?
Yeah.
But everyone also has their primary focus in what they're doing throughout the day, and
Yeah.
we're all
So
kind of
that
like
like
sharing
tasks don't get like built on one person because
exactly.
that's a lot for one person. And
Yeah.
like I know this year we only had really one GTL and so I know that was a lot on him. And so I definitely think the more you can like spread out tasks and the more you can delegate, like
Hmm.
just the more success you're going to have. And like nothing's going to be perfect. Like there's always
Oh
going to
yeah.
be ways to improve and make it better, but I think at the end of the day we're just trying to like support our guides so our guides can pour out that much more to
Yeah.
campers because it's about campers, but it also is about guides and staff. Like
Yeah.
it's about everyone
And for the purpose of the mission.
for the purpose of the kingdom, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And people need different things in their walk
Mm.
when they come to Beyond. And so just figuring out where people are at and then how you can help them, I think is kind of just the overall mission and goal
Yeah.
of Beyond.
Yeah. And yeah. So, I mean, it would be interesting to see going forward how they choose to, I guess, take on that issue, because I would say that every year there is something to be desired of. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's
Every
never
year.
gonna be perfect.
Yeah, but I think doing the things that we can so that we minimize the consequences of not being
Yeah.
able to take care of this or help this person out or whatnot.
I think it also will be interesting because we have done Beyond at a very interesting period. Like we did
Oh yeah,
Beyond at a
absolutely.
transition period. And so like last year, like we only really had one GTL. And this year we also really only had one GTL. And so I wonder what it like I am planning on coming back next summer to guide again. And so I wonder how it will be this summer when we actually have like two GTLs.
Yeah.
And like people like we finally have a full staff and people in those roles.
I mean, and shout out to Jane,
Oh,
Daniel, right? It was
yeah,
Jane,
super, yeah,
Daniel,
just
Kelly,
amazing.
and Caleb. I
Yeah,
mean, they all,
y'all, everyone did fantastic with what they had, and
yeah,
like it, no fault on you guys. Like I love you all,
yeah,
but I think there is a structure for a reason, and so
yeah,
I am excited to just see like how much more like Beyond can love on
improve.
people and
Yeah,
yeah, just really live out its mission when they have all the hands. And so it's more of a feeling of excitement. And so
mm,
yeah,
yeah. Well, I know your battery is running out,
yeah, I
so
was
we'll
kind of
probably
looking at that.
lose footage. Thank you, Julia, and thank
Of
you for taking me
course.
out here.
Oh, it's so pretty,
It
and
is, and
yeah,
hopefully there'll be videos of showing what we're doing. I'm gonna
yeah,
put that in there. But
yeah,
thank you all for joining us in
yeah.
the Julia podcast episode. Actually, you're gonna be the first guy that I actually publish it.
Yes,
So
guys, I
yeah,
made it.
yeah. Um, we'll see if James ever sends the videos for the podcast.
James,
Come on, James.
it's on you.
Come on, James.
We believe in you.
Yeah. By the time I publish this episode, I'm pretty sure that the website that I have will also be ready to go. Oh, um, the movie stopped recording. I guess I'm gonna do it on this one. Uh, so the website is called adventuresearth.com, plural adventures, and it'll have that'll be a site where I have all my podcasts, my blog, as well as items that anyone is interested as far as like going into the outdoors and really all the tips and tricks that we both as guides have done, as well as gear reviews, and yeah, just come by and check it out. I'll post it in the description below. So y'all take care.
Yeah.